the whole meeting for the Northgate School District for Monday, January 14th, 2013. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Reinhardt. Here. Mrs. Bartholomew. Here. Mr. Paladin.
Here.
Mrs. Jackson. Here. Mr. Barbarino.
Here.
Dr. McAfora.
Here.
Mr. Clifford.
Here.
Dr. Smithy. Here. Mr. O'Keefe.
Here. Okay, thank you. Can we do the pledge to the flag, please?
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we move into the visitor's commentary portion, I know a lot of you have had an opportunity to speak to Dr. Pasquarello, and some of you have actually not had an opportunity to speak with Dr. Pasquarello. So what I'm going to ask him to do is actually give a clarification on the major points of his recommendations so that we're all working from a common point.
Good evening. For those of you that I haven't got a chance to speak with, basically my recommendations are based upon a decrease in enrollment. It's a significant decrease in enrollment. In 1995-96, the enrollment was 1,644 students, and we had 110 staff. Currently, in the 2012-2013 school year, we have 1,211 students and 115 staff. If you go to a 10-year projection, if you look at the 10-year decrease, you're at somewhere around 22%. So I just wanted that to be clear, that the recommendations I am making are due to a decrease in enrollment. Some of the things that have gone on, and I would like to take a moment to thank the local paper, The Citizen. I will make one correction. I think I might have misspoke. We were talking about secondary counseling when I said there would be no counselors. I will say that I am recommending the cut of one elementary counselor, but we would still have two at the high school. But I would like to thank you for reporting that. In that, I think most of the points mentioned that I was interviewed and made were accurate, and in that we will not be cutting any nurses. We will still have AP courses. We will still have all facets of the band. We still have chorus. We still will have both of our elementary schools remaining a K-6 building, each one of them. We will just move some of those students on the border area to balance the class sizes. I believe those were the key points that we had discussed. Also, we've been in negotiations with regards to an early retirement incentive that has gone back and forth between myself and the union leadership. So, started on their end, we've counter-proposed, and we have just made a proposal to them again today. So that should clarify a majority of the items that I think that we're going around. I hope that that will help you, and I look forward to answering any other questions, if possible, here tonight. And I'd like to thank the folks that came out to the Avalon PTO meeting and the key communicators. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now begin the visitors' commentary portion of our meeting. Visitors, please state your name and address. Please limit your remarks to 5 minutes or less. Summarize your comments during the visitors' commentary time, please. The microphone is actually over on the other aisle.
Can we form a line, Doctor?
You can form a line, yes.
All right, we're good to start?
Go ahead, please state your name.
Okay, my name is David Marks. I live at 111 North Jackson Avenue. I have 4 children, one in 4th grade, one in 1st grade. I've been volunteering with the school for the past 5 years, mostly in kindergarten through 4th grade. Have you guys all had the opportunity to be in a classroom this year? Every one of you guys? Okay, cool. I went as far as getting the proper clearances to be a classroom volunteer this year because that's really important about being involved in school. I looked at some of the proposals here, and one of the things was eliminating a kindergarten teacher. In a kind of roundabout way, didn't we try that last year? We only had 2 elementary school teachers, kindergarten teachers last year. That didn't work out so hot. because in my son's first grade class, I do reading with him on Thursday mornings. I've been doing this reading for almost 4 years now. And I noticed that my son and his peers who were in that divided class, significantly behind the other students. I mean, these students are reading 3 and 4 3 and 4 letter words versus full sentences. I mean, there's a big gap in between both of them. The class size is now 20 and has 1 TA. And it's a challenge. Now I can't imagine what it would be like with over 30 children in a room. Dr. Pasquarella, September 30th, you said, Northgate did a nice job of demonstrating that our scores have shown consistent growth over the years. The federal government invests money in schools where the money shows improvement. He said that adding students should show a full year of academic growth. They're looking for trends above the state average. That's how we were selected. That's how we will continue. It's not about overall scores, but how the students are demonstrating consistent achievement. Okay, that was in the Post-Gazette. So that's my son. He was in 42. One teacher taught 42 kids, AM and PM. She was a wonderful teacher, but there's no way 42 kids can be taught by her, or any teacher by that fact. My older son is a great child. His name's Braden. He has bipolar disorder, so do I. Oppositional defiance disorder, and without coping mechanisms like the 504 that he has in place, he wouldn't be where he is today academically and in extracurricular activities. Mrs. Bruner is a key to keeping the behaviorally challenged focused and on task. We're talking about eliminating a guidance counselor with all these children being diagnosed with disorders. With the growing number of children being diagnosed, I don't think eliminating a position like that is smart at any level. Dr. Pasquarella, you were at the Christmas concert, right? My son played a solo, sax solo. His name's Braden. He had a sax for 3 months, only had sheet music for 9 days. He did a solo. Did pretty good. He's in top 10, first in that, and my wife and I are very happy with the programs that the school has in place. He's not doing so well in reading, and he's in Title I. Altogether, we're all working on it. And what I'm getting at is the teachers didn't put my child on a shelf. They didn't label him because of his disorder, and they didn't stop working with him. Instead, they pushed him, challenged him, praised him, and continued to nurture him as one of their own children. Facing a classroom size of 30 plus, he would get lost in the shuffle. His second grade teacher to this day still sends him congratulation notes when she sees him in all kinds of activities. So I'm sure she does that to other kids as well too. Dr. Pasquarella, finally, you come from a family of educators. What would they say about the decisions that you're making today? In the spirit of learning. You told the Post-Gazette that we demonstrated growth in our school district. Please don't be the one to stop this growth. Thank you.
Thank you, school board members, Dr. Pasquarella, for this opportunity to speak. First, I would like to say thank you.
Your name, please.
I'm sorry, Jan Galbraith, 119 Arch Avenue, Bellevue.
Thank you.
First, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Avalon PTO, who so graciously opened up their PTO meeting last Thursday evening to allow us to come and hear Dr. Pasquarella answer our questions. And a very big thank you to our teachers and our aides for every day that you inspire, enrich, and make a difference in my child's life and all the children in our district. It is for them we are here tonight to request that the school board vote no to Dr. Pasquarella's proposed reduction in teachers. We ask that you vote no to the removal of any and all teachers' aides. Dr. Pasquarella was quick to note on us last Thursday evening this is not a budget issue. It's simply due to the reduction of students. However, the increase in the special ed students continues to rise across the country due to increase in diagnosis and more inclusion in our schools. The state of Pennsylvania has a 3% higher rate of special education students than the country's average of 13%. In 2007 through 2008, Northgate, according to the Pennsylvania Department of Education, had 17% of the student body recorded as special education, not including our gifted program. In 2011 and 2012, the percentage was 18.2%. We are above the national average by 5%. And the state average by 2%. While these proposed changes are not completely impacting the special education inclusion, These numbers have a huge impact on the proposed cuts on teachers, assistants, as well as the impact it will have on all students. Inclusion, whether it is for the autistic child, a child with ADHD, or a reading disability, requires more assistance with the help of the teacher's aides that will diminish. If you increase class sizes, remove teachers' aides, and the number of special education students continues to increase, there will be more distractions and less time for teaching all students. Regardless of the decline in the student numbers, you have a steady growth of children who are not only receiving special education, but have not yet been tested and are currently not receiving services. My husband and I plan to move to the country after my second child graduated from Northgate. However, when our daughter was born and was in need of special education, and we were looking for a new home, we went shopping for a school district, not just a house. We decided on Northgate. Once that we knew, once we knew what a great education Northgate had to offer her as a special ed student, we had no other choice. We could have gone anywhere, but we bought Northgate. Also, Dr. Pasquarella spoke of the intervention time, each grade level that would prevent children from falling through the cracks so the larger class would not be in trouble. The special education numbers I have mentioned do not begin to look at behavioral issues of children who do not even have IEPs. And let's be realistic, there's always been an issue with a child acting out in class. The teacher will, under this proposal, have to stop teaching the other 24 to 30 students to handle that situation our aides are currently assisting with now. Dr. Pasquarella stated that only kids now receiving help are the special ed students, and I know this is not true. While my daughter is fortunate to have a one-on-one aide, she is there to help all students as much as possible and assist not only my child, but every student. Cutting aides and teachers, in my research and honest opinion, will create a decline in our test scores, our schools, and our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Hannah Dunn. I live at 535 Forest Avenue in Bellevue. Tonight I'm speaking on behalf of my sister, Leah Dunn. I have 3 siblings who went to this school, and I'm currently a junior here. So this is on behalf of my sister. Dr. Pasquarella and the members of the Northgate School Board. My name is Leah Dunn, and I am a Northgate alumnus, graduated with the class of 2012. I was unable to physically attend this meeting because I have returned to American University in Washington, D.C. for the spring semester of my freshman year. The irony in this is that the positions and subsequent courses proposed to be cut at this meeting are the exact teachers and classes that enabled me to get into college in the first place. If I did not take the language, honors, and advanced placement courses that I took in high school, the exact courses that are now in jeopardy with the cutting of so many teachers, I would legitimately not be in college today. American University, as well as a number of other post-secondary institutions, requires a minimum of 4 years of foreign language classes. Additionally, as an applicant to 9 very selective institutions, if a student does not take honors or advanced placement courses, they are set significantly behind compared to other applicants. Colleges essentially disregard these applications because the college application process has become that rigorous and competitive. In high school, I took 6 advanced placement and 12 honors courses, as well as 4 years of French. The coursework and requirements of these classes prepared me for the extreme demands of a university course load and enabled me to earn a grade point average of 4.0 my first semester in college. Without my high school preparation, this achievement would not have been possible. Depriving future Northgate students from having the options and variety in classes that language, honors, and AP courses offer decreases the value and quality of their education. I'm aware that an issue dealing with these cuts is low enrollment in our higher level classes. In 11th grade, I took AP English Language, a class with only 5 students. However, each of the 5 people in that class earned the highest score on the national exam, and each were able to earn a college credit for their scores. Because there were only 5 students in that class, do we deserve to be robbed of this experience and advantage? I certainly think not. Every student and their aspirations matter. For these reasons, and from my personal recent experiences with post-secondary education, I would like to protest the elimination of such a large number of teachers and courses from the Northgate School District. The futures of Bellevue and Avalon's children are at stake. I had the options and resources to prepare myself for my future, and for our future students' sake, we should not cheat them of having the futures that they dream of. Thank you, Leah Dunn.
Please bear with me for a moment. I just wanted to answer one point on that. There are no recommendations to cut AP courses or honors courses at this point. Not this year, sir. I'm not recommending that at that point. We still have... I'm just going to say this one time. In response to the letter that was just read, we are not cutting the foreign language programs. It's not on the list. Also, not on the recommended list is to reduce honors or AP. If there are only 5 students, we are going to preserve that class. Thank you.
Tom Michelot, 213 South Birmingham Avenue. I'm a resident, I'm a parent, and I'm also a teacher here. Now, I have 4 main points to make, and I will try to be brief, unlike class. You guys know how it is. I will start with praise. I will move on to some things that will help the board measure appropriately. I will then have some requests, and then I shall finish with praise. Northgate, Avalon, Bellevue are the best kept secrets in the North Hills, mainly because of the dedication of this school board to education. I am not a big fan of Quad A schools. That's my opinion. I graduated from a Quad A school. They are pressure cookers. Single A, double A schools are the way to go. It is because this school board, for the past 17 years of my residency, 16 years of my career here, have done their job and dedicated themselves to this school district, to this community. Now, I will return to praise at the end. The cliche is measure twice, cut once, not cut twice and see what happens. Plain and simple, I cannot tell you that when I started this school, I had children sitting in the hallway. We were not staffed appropriately when we peaked out and made double A. We were not staffed appropriately. We needed more teachers. Secondly, I do not believe that people have taken into account that many people on the contract do not have children in a classroom. Meaning, and I'm not criticizing, this happened to be on our contract, that we have a nurse, we have 2, 3, 4 counselors. Special ed, as Mr. Marks said earlier, has become more rigorous. It is no longer a classroom unto itself. The kids are included. So when you count special ed teachers, when you count counselors, when you count people who don't have kids in the classroom, you are skewing the numbers against the class size. Now, 2 community anecdotes. Contrary to popular belief, I don't go to the swimming pool to politic. I go there to ignore my kids for 2 hours. Now, I cannot tell you how many people came up to me 2 years ago when we had only 8 unfilled retirements and 5 layoffs, which then were later reinstituted. How many people came up to me and said, "Why does my kid have 4 study halls? Why?" And my response is, call Tom Corbett in Harrisburg, because that's why we cut those people. Now, I promised myself I wouldn't make it political, I'm sorry. Now, I add to that same anecdotal evidence because I've been here for so many years, since I know so many of you in the audience. People have come up to me and asked the following question to me, Mr. Avalon, Mr. Dumpster Day, are you going to move if they do this? So if they're asking me if I'm doing it, are they considering it? The answer is absolutely. I'm going to conclude what's most important to me. I didn't come here because I'm a resident. I didn't come here because I'm a teacher. I came here because my kids are at this district. And I challenge anyone in this room to find respected literature that says 25 kids in an elementary school class is an appropriate number. I challenge you. You will not find it. One more I know they have promised, and correctly so, that they will not cut special ed and they will not cut AP programs. That is correct. That's what needs to be done. We don't have kids, as Ms. Dunn said earlier, go off to American University because we don't have those programs. And if you cut from special ed, well, then there's something wrong with you. Now, my point is, okay, my point is that the kids who we're going to lose are the ones who are not in special ed and not in AP classes. It'll be the average kids. I conclude by stating this, that no one, Dr. Pasquarello, the board, anyone here, intentions are poor. We all are trying to do what's right by the children and this community. I request that we err on the side of caution, not go full tilt with cut it to bone and see what happens. I again conclude with praise. The school board has always supported me, my endeavors, has always supported the community, has always cared for the children most. I thank you for your efforts, and I am sorry that you had to be in this business because I do not envy you a moment of your time. Good night, thank you.
Hello, my name is Beth Foss. I live at 677 Shade Avenue. I'm a resident. I am in Northgate District and a taxpayer. And I have 4 kids. Okay. I understand that the funding issues have to do with inflation, legislative mandates, and the lack of growth in our district. And it kind of grieves me, and I don't blame the administration, I don't blame the school board. A lot of it has to do with us in the community and what we're doing to help the area grow. Many of us could have seen this coming if we walked through the town and read our comprehensive plan, because it is in the plan that these districts will be merged eventually, so it shouldn't be a surprise. The school district, I don't think we should be so hard on them because they are hedging inflation and they need to do what needs to be done to save the district. 22 teachers might be a little bit extreme. There's many ways of balancing a budget. I don't know if any non-education services have been out for rebid on private enterprises. I don't know how they're doing that. I do notice that they are looking at an audit of the health insurance, which is really pricey. They are looking at food service contract updates, which is good. So they are doing things to kind of hedge inflation. If you don't know what inflation is, our dollar is worth 3 cents what it used to be. So that's why it's more expensive for you to buy the loaf of bread. And that's why it's more expensive to run a school. I think some people are forgetting what kind of economy we're in. The interest rates are, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like a hallucination low. And if anyone studied history, the first Great Depression was ended by higher inflation, higher loan rates, and less printing of money. If you notice now, we have low interest rates and they're printing money. So our school board is doing what they can to kind of hedge that inflation. My question is, school board, are they sharing administration and education services with other districts? Are they auctioning off unused products in the building? Is there a freeze on purchasing of unnecessary tools and equipment? Are they putting a freeze on buying textbooks? What kind of things are they doing other than reducing the number of teachers to save the budget? And they said it's not a budget issue. There are mandates by the state, and one of the school board members was kind enough to point out to me there's many things that they can't do based on the law. And I researched the law, I'm a paralegal, and I kind of forgot that part of it. So some of the things that they want to do, they can't do because the law has mandated they must do certain things based on a formula that's arbitrary. So I just kind of wanted to cut them some slack. I don't like the fact that 22 teachers are proposed at being cut. Maybe they could come up with creative scheduling, like have blocks in the morning for teachers to work part-time instead of being completely eliminated. But they are proposing to go to an 8-period day instead of a 9-period day. So I think that the school board is doing things to eliminate the problem. And that's all I have to say.
Hello, my name is Beth Becker. I live on Irwin Avenue in Bellevue. I have 2 students in this school, one in 8th grade in the middle school and one at 6th grade in Bellevue Elementary. And I thank you for the opportunity to voice my comment here tonight. First of all, I would like to admit to being a low information voter in these issues. The only information I have about this, I've never been to a school board meeting, I don't subscribe to the Citizen. The only information I've gotten is this little flyer that the teachers passed out last week, and the information that my 6th and 8th grader have been bringing home from the teachers in school. Last week, one of the teachers passed out these flyers around my neighborhood. I would like to thank the Northgate Education Association for this flyer. It presents information and thoughtful questions in a clear, non-confrontational format. Yet I am sure the answers would be different for as many people that are here. Everybody would have a different opinion. For about the past month, even before the Christmas break, as I said, both of my children have been telling me what their teachers have been reportedly telling them in school about the superintendent and the budget. Just like this flyer has questions for everybody to read, I have questions for the teachers to consider. Number 1, have you considered the psychological impact of your comments on the children? Number 2, have you set a good example of conflict resolution for the children, or have you engaged in name calling? Number 3, have you conducted yourself in a professional manner, or have you behaved like divorced parents who argue in front of their kids or berate the other parent when they're not around, or like the Little League dad who berates the coach or the umpire for a decision he doesn't like? Number 4, have your comments been impartial? Just because you preface your comments with, well, this is just my opinion, doesn't make it okay to say in front of the students. Perhaps junior, senior, 10th, 11th, 12th grades political science class would be appropriate venues for some of the comments. Just as the questions in the flyer may be met with different answers and opinions, I am sure the same holds true for my questions. I would like to remind everyone that while we expect children to act like children and immature, I would expect or hope that all adults in this room would act like adults. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kivette Dickerson O'Brien, and I volunteer at Bellevue Elementary Cafeteria. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming this evening. I am very passionate about my job. I love these kids beyond belief. And I'm with the teachers every single day. I've gone through and helped many, many kids with bullying. I've had kids eat lunch together because of bullying, meaning the kid that was getting bullied and the bullier. I made them eat lunch together, because if you can't see the other person's side, there will be no resolution to the problem. I feel for these kids and I feel for the teachers every single day. And I appreciate the fact that my 5-year-old wanted to come back from Christmas break so he could see his teacher, Miss Anderson. Not because he knew that he would have a packet of homework that he would have to take home and Mommy and Daddy would, sit down together and let Micah do it. But it was also the simple fact that my son enjoys music and has a crush on his teacher, Miss Russo. And not because, oh, Mommy, she's pretty, but because this teacher cares about my child. She cares about the fact of whether or not at the age of 5, my son can get in front of the cafeteria, get in front of the whole staff and students and say, my country, tears of thee, and not have shame, and not feel like somebody is better than he is. That is what my teachers do for my kids every day. And I love Mrs. English and Mrs. G. I call her Mrs. McGee. You guys know she's Mrs. Fizzette herself. I love my kids' teachers because they'll come to me and I don't feel offense to it. I take what you tell me and I grasp it and I try to correct the situation, because the way I feel about it, there are no stupid children. There are no stupid parents. There's a couple lazy ones, but it's also everybody's job, because when I was little, when the porch lights came on, everybody watched everybody else's child. It was not, that's not my problem. And that's the way I feel my teachers are at Bellevue Elementary. So, Mr. Pasquarelli, I have one quick question. How are we going to choose what children get to go to Avalon from Bellevue? How will they get chosen border-wise if I bought my house in Bellevue so that my children could get a wonderful education? How am I going to get that letter in the mail and say, we're sorry that Micah 5 does not get the same state of education in Avalon that his sister got in Bellevue? Or, excuse me, don't boo me, because I'm sorry, I went to WVU, I have no shame. But the way I feel about it, excuse me, Bellevue Elementary has been my daughter's home from day one. So why is it fair to tell my child that he can't stay at the same facility, if you want me to correctly word it, at the same facility of his home school that his sister is almost making? What? Straight A's. What? Straight A's. So how will we get to decide what children will be sent to a different facility? Will it be one of those we pick and choose, or will it be like a raffle? And here's another question that I want to ask real quick. If that is the case, how many children will be sitting in a classroom and still have the attention of one teacher and nobody gets shited in the process? That's all I ask.
Well, to answer your question, we are the Northgate School District, and I've had the opportunity to visit both elementary schools, and I'm proud of the education being provided in both elementary schools. So I understand that you may live and have attended Bellevue, but I'm very confident in telling you you'll get a quality education at Avalon if that was where your child is from. Secondly, what we're going to look at is because we are a walking school district, we will be looking based upon where you live in the area in proximity to Avalon Elementary. So the streets, and they won't be one street, it will be rather looked at in the entire student population to try to balance them as evenly as possible. So I can't limit the number of students because there are transfers in and out. But in general, we have an average class of 100. Okay, so right now they're being divided by 5 sections, and if you look at it and you divide it by 4 sections, meaning 2 in each building, you would divide that number by 4. So sometimes there's a few more than 100, but often there is less than 100. So I hope I answered your questions. If I did not, let me know what piece I did not, and I will try to answer that again.
Well, the thing about it is you said that there will be 4 with 25. So there'll be 1 teacher per 25 students?
Yes, I'm not going to be committed to saying that if, for example, maybe there might be less in some cases if there was 90, maybe there's a couple more if they have 103 or 4. So it's just going to be divided by 4. Some cases in some of the classes, in our grade levels, we might have 85 or 90. And in other ones, we might have 102 or 3. So whatever that would be, it would be divided by 4. And we would move the folks in proximity to Avalon to try to balance them as evenly as possible. That's the answer.
So it would only be going from Bellevue to Avalon, not Avalon to Bellevue?
That is correct. At this point, that is correct.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jane Miller, 302 Fisk Avenue, and I'm speaking tonight because I believe, like Mr. Miklos said earlier, that Northgate School District is one of Pittsburgh's best kept secrets. I'm also an Avalon parent. My 3 children are ages 31, 26, and 15. And We're almost through this, and we've had a wonderful education with her. And some of you know that I've joked that Avalon Elementary really should be called Avalon Academy. I believe that. I just wanted to say one more thing. We need public relations, not these drastic cuts. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Leah Gaines Morris, 470 Dawson Avenue in Bellevue. I'm actually a first-time parent of the Northgate School District and new resident of Bellevue. Most of my questions were answered, so my teenager will be over the moon. She called me crying after school, I mean literally in tears, like, Mom, you know, they're cutting all these teachers, they're cutting aides, and they're possibly going to be cutting the honors and the AP program, and I need those to get into college. My counselor is going to be losing her job. I mean, she was just, you know, she was really, really hurt. But she will be happy to know that as of now, that the honors and the AP classes. But I really love this school district. I love my neighborhood, and it was disheartening to hear, you know, that such a vast number of teachers, because it's only like 22 teachers in the school district as it is. And I'm thinking, so what's it going to be, like 5 teachers, you know, and like 50 kids in a class? And I also have a 2-year-old, so in a couple years, yeah, my kids are 14 years apart, starting over after all this time. In a couple years, you know, she'll be going to elementary school, and you know, I would just hope that you guys can reconsider and just, you know, take to heart all the comments all the parents and the teachers here have said tonight and try to come up with something else. And thank you for your time.
My name is Sean Watson. I live in 561 Highland Place in Bellevue. And I have 2 children right now that are in special needs, and one with an IEP, so he's an individual aid with him the entire time. And first point I wanted to make is myself and probably everybody on the board, if you remember when you were in elementary school, I'm sure there wasn't the type of environment that there is where you need a whole life skills center just to take care of the number of kids. Somebody touched on earlier that there's no doubt that the special needs are increasing every year. There might be decreased enrollment, but there's a much higher need for individual attention to those kids. Those numbers, the fact is, going up. So special needs or not, it's always nicer to have that low ratio, but it can become a safety issue. If it weren't for my 3rd grader cannot carry on a conversation. If he didn't have the support he has in that life skills class, they can identify when he's having a bad day. If it spreads a tantrum, that kind of thing, and behavior problems to the whole classroom and can disrupt it for a day. If you were to ask those aides what happens when one person might be out with the flu and others on a vacation, and they're down 2 aides for the day. Well, they're in scramble mode, and all those kids are affected. They don't have the day and the attention that they need. And that's the kind of thing you deal with on an everyday basis. And last year, the people that come to our home every day looked at us and said, they're not making enough, the one son's not making enough progress. They wanted to recommend that we take him out of Avalon Elementary and put him into a full-time institute, like the Children's Institute or D.T. Watson, which there's an advocate that, I know it's not a budget issue, but the fact is, if it's proven that the school's not doing enough, the school district foots the bill to pay for them to go there at $100,000 a year. We went against that because of the care that they get today. And I know if 1/3 of the aides are eliminated, there will be no such thing.
Because you said something when he was talking about having a bad day. What did you have to add? Oh, I had on tape here. You said something.
said something about you having a bad day or something like that? I mean, you had a comment after every one of these parents, so I'm kind of curious to what your comments are.
All around. My name is Brian Johnston. I live at 70 Keswick Avenue in Bellevue. School board administration, I'm very concerned about the superintendent's proposal to cut approximately 20% of teaching positions in our district. Judging by tonight's turnout, I would say a large part of the community agrees with me as well. My first question when considering such large cuts is why? If this is not a budget issue, then why cut 20% of our teachers in the first place? It certainly isn't motivated by a desire to give our children more opportunities to learn. I don't think it would help the district make the AYP, which it failed to do last year. In fact, Pennsylvania State Education Association believes that Pennsylvania schools should work to reduce class sizes, particularly in elementary schools. Stating that smaller is better, the PSEA website indicates that optimal kindergarten and first grade classes consist of 15 students, and that class sizes for grades 2 through 5 consist of no more than 18 students. If this is not a budget issue, how will increasing class sizes and reducing the number of teaching assistants or other classroom aides improve the learning environment for our children? How does the superintendent ensure that there will not be a significant increase in classroom distractions or that there will be not a reduction in classroom safety? You also propose that there will be an even distribution of class sizes between Avalon and Bellevue Elementary School. If class sizes shift from year to year, would the superintendent plan on shuffling students back and forth between schools on a yearly basis? I would like to know if the superintendent's plan will also include eliminating graduation requirements and lowering the amount of credits needed to graduate. If so, how will that be of any benefit to our children? I urge the board to think about what impact this has on the community. If the superintendent's proposal is implemented and Northgate continues to not make its AYP and classes or other programs get cut, what will happen to our already struggling community? One could argue that it would cause families to leave the district, property values to decrease, and the consequences to that would most likely be an increase in poverty and crime. A publication by the PSEA stated that the Economic Policy Institute found that each dollar invested in smaller class sizes yields about $2 in economic benefit. I wonder if the inverse is true. Will that mean every dollar saved from increasing class sizes result in a $2 economic handicap? Let's play devil's advocate for a moment and consider this is a budget issue. Would there be any negative financial consequences if the superintendent's proposal goes through? A September article in The Citizen reported that Dr. Pasquarella saved the school about $30,000 by convincing 3 cyber school students to return to Northgate. Would any families consider sending their children to cyber school if the superintendent's proposal goes through? At $10,000 a student, that isn't a consequence that should be ignored. I know as a concerned parent, it is an option that I would at least have to consider, as well as the possibility of leaving the district if I feel the district is failing our children. I hope that the school board considers the superintendent's plan very carefully. I would expect that any proposal to cut teachers be accompanied by sufficient proof as to demonstrate the need of the cuts and the expected outcome. To make an informed decision, I would expect hard numbers in writing. Are we trying to save X amount of dollars? How much money do we need to cut, and again, why? If there is no specific figure, since this is not a budget issue, then how do you come up with the figure of cutting 20%? Furthermore, if this is based solely on declining enrollment, I would expect to see enrollment figures for each year in each school and a justification of the need to make the cuts. Also, since this is not a budget issue, I would be very curious about how the superintendent plans to spend the money. If Dr. Pascarilla can sufficiently demonstrate the need to reduce the budget by a specific amount, then I urge the board to consider alternative methods of meeting his number. For example, does the school board expect any increase in funding from property reassessments? If our teachers are asked to do more with less, what about the same with the superintendent's administration and reducing the amount of employees in the administration by 20%? What about rethinking whether or not to accept students from other districts based on tuition? Well, I don't have all the answers, and I haven't read all the details of the proposal until today. I would urge the board to consider alternatives and all the consequences that the superintendent's proposal would entail. I hope that any decision by the board does not conflict with the school's mission statement to provide each student with the opportunity to acquire knowledge and skills to the maximum of his or her potential. As a concerned parent and member of the community, I hope that the members of the board take into consideration the sentiments of each person that speaks today, and remember that as elected officials, their job is to represent the interests and wants of the people that have elected them. I also hope, upon looking over the proposal today, that the board members are open to discussing their opinions on the proposal with the community members prior to next week's board meeting. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Christine Kavicki, 277 Summit Avenue, Bellevue. I grew up in Bellevue. I left for 15 years and came back to raise my family here. And as I look around the auditorium, I see a lot of faces that did the same thing. The best thing about living in a walking district is the opportunity to meet fellow parents and teachers. While waiting to pick up your child outside of school, lasting friendships are formed on the playground. Teachers and the principal are outside before and after school on nice days, talking to the parents about what activities are going on, how their child's doing, or just forming that bond through small talk. Classroom needs are discussed, parents are getting to know one another, and soon each grade has parents willing to volunteer their time to PTO, classroom parties, and as chaperones on field trips. Many parents own businesses in the area, and the playground and school become an extension for networking. Local businesses who know parents from when they were students in the Northgate district are happy to donate or help the schools out with items or gift cards for school events. This in turn brings families into their stores or restaurants, keeping the local economy thriving and bringing new people into our town and schools. This idea carries inside the school. We are fortunate enough right now in our district to have top-notch caring teacher aides whose positive presence is undeniable. They work with their assigned child one-on-one and are willing to help another if needed. They give our teachers the ability to keep the class moving forward while no child slips behind. We have an amazing support staff in our office administration, janitors and school nurses. They make sure an efficient, clean, and healthy environment is created for our kids every day. And all of these people, principals, teachers, parents, teacher aides, local businessmen, and support staff together, most importantly, create a safer and more positive community for our children to grow up in. If we are to keep this little slice of academic joy, we have to understand that the community and the schools are all interdependent on one another. That if one cog in that wheel is missing, our community and our schools will not function at their maximum efficiency. I hope that if you are considering to send some Bellevue children to Avalon or Avalon children to Bellevue or create a new line, that you take all what is said tonight by everyone and think about not only the numbers, but that the value of what each entity brings to the other. Thank you.
Hello members of the board, I am Chase Dermond. I live on 195 Dakota Avenue, and I've been a student for about a total of 4 years, this being my 5th and final year. I transferred to Northgate School District from my previous middle school, the Frick International Studies Academy, at the beginning of the 2008-2009 school year. In Frick ISA, I witnessed firsthand the detrimental effects of a large class size due to teacher cuts. In both my 6th and 7th grade years of attendance, I was placed within classes that had around 26 to 30 students and one teacher assigned to educate and control the frantic prepubescent children. The loud and rowdy students frequently interrupted lessons, and due to their sheer number of these students, the teacher often lost control. A conflict between the teacher and the students created a hostile environment, an environment very unfit for education. The lack of control deprived many of the good students, for lack of a better word, of the education that they were sent to the very school for. Not only did the teacher cuts in the previous years affect the order of the classroom, but it also severely limited the variety of knowledge I procured. The revised classing system at Frick was so stiff, robotic, bland, it gave the students very little secondary skills outside of the basic core classes. An example of this would be when my brother attended Frick prior to the teacher cuts, he regaled with me tales of his activities in woodshop, home rec, and cooking classes, all of which, to my dismay, I never got to experience until I transferred to Northgate. To my memory, I barely retained any of the knowledge that I gained at Frick, and any of the knowledge I did retain was at a very basic level, and quite archaic when I reached higher level courses in the school. The most prominent example of this would be the Frick ISA system is part of the International Baccalaureate, which is a magnet school. And within this, it was provided Spanish ever since I was in grade 1. But the amounts of Spanish knowledge I attained from these classes was very little. And in 1 year of Senor Bishko's Spanish 1 class, I probably learned more than about 8 years of Spanish in the Pittsburgh public school system. When I first transferred to Northgate, I was greatly surprised by the attention each student received from the instructor, the variability of the class I could take, and the advanced material we were introduced to. The very concept of having a say in the classes I took, the idea of electives and honor classes were completely foreign to me before I came to Northgate. All in all, I have greatly appreciated and enjoyed my years at Northgate, and I would hate to see the teachers and subsequently all of the great electives and classes that I love cut from this program. Although I am graduating this year, I still wish for all of my friends who are found in all the different grade levels to get the same quality of education I received, with all of the electives, personal attention, and friendly atmosphere that these fantastic teachers have nurtured for us for all of these years. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Evan Sweeney, 718 Means Avenue, and I am the very proud president of the class of 2013. Now, for nearly 15 years, I've been a resident of Bellevue, and for nearly 13 years, I've been a student enrolled in the Northgate School District, kindergarten to 12th grade. I've always had pride in this district. Throughout both elementary school and high school, Northgate has afforded me incredible opportunities and experiences. I made lifelong friendships, I traveled to foreign countries, and above all, I received an education from some of the most caring, knowledgeable, and kind-hearted teachers one could ask for. But now, I see my district in grave danger of losing much of what made it such a wonderful place to be. Our superintendent has proposed to cut as many as 23 teachers from this district. Now, since his proposal was announced, there's been a great deal of speculation and rumor spreading. I want to cut through that. I looked at the facts, I've sifted through the rumors, and I'm left with one question. Why? Why, sir, did you make this proposal at this time, and what made you think it would be in the best interest of this school district? Now, this isn't the first time this question's been asked, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But every time it is asked, what are we told? We have a decline in enrollment, and we have to furlough our teachers to compensate. So then, it's not an issue of budget, but rather an issue of enrollment. And indeed, this is true. Northgate is not in a budget crisis, and our superintendent has not stated that it was. But why then must we remove paid positions and the extracurricular and academic classes that come along with them? To have a surplus of money, simply for the sake of having one, at the expense of excellent teachers and competitive ranges of classes is nothing short of senseless. How useful is extra money when we're left with nothing to show for it? What we're left with is fewer classes, fewer teachers, and fewer opportunities. And let's not sugarcoat it. Now, it's great, sounds great, we won't cut AP classes. No, that's good.
This year.
Satisfies some people. Well, no, we won't cut the band, that satisfies some other people, but let's look at the core issue. 23 positions are going to be cut from this school district. I would love to see the mathematical equation you used to arrive at this number based upon decline in enrollment. Now, saving money would look great on a piece of paper. It would look great on a resume, but it's not good for this school district. And the comments about teachers name-calling, false. Absolutely false. Now, our superintendent has expressed hope in actually increasing enrollment as a result of these cuts. We have to ask ourselves, what is it that makes a school appealing to parents and families moving into a district? The answer is clear. It is the quality and availability of the teaching staff and assistants, and it is the quality and availability of a diverse range of classes and extracurricular activities. There is not a single parent or student in the world who would find increased class sizes and decreased class selection more appealing. And I believe that every member of the school board is conscious of that fact. I know that everyone in this audience feels that way. At a time when this district needs to greatly improve its test-taking standards and academic performance, there's a proposal to lower graduation requirements, increase the size of any classes that happen to be left, and cut all teaching aid that is not mandated by law, or at least 1/3. You do not need to have a doctorate in education to understand how terribly damaging to our school standards. I have grown up here. I have benefited immensely from the education I have received. And now I will continue my education at an excellent university. One that I would simply not have been able to attend if these cuts had taken away the classes which helped me so greatly in the past. From Mr. Majerik's kindergarten class 13 years ago, to all of the wonderful teachers that guide and teach me to this day, Northgate has been a wonderful environment to grow up in, to learn in, and to benefit from. Please don't let that change for our younger siblings and future students. Every child deserves a complete, holistic, excellent education. Within my control. It's in with yours. You have more than 1,200 students, 115 staff, and an entire community in your hands. And now that concerned students like myself and others have contacted news, you have all of Pittsburgh. Now, I've always had an interest in politics, and I plan to study politics at the university I'm going to. Now, I know that, like school board members, politicians aren't elected to represent themselves and their interests. They're elected to represent the interests of these people in the audience here. Your commitment to serve that community will now be tested. Will you decide to keep our teachers, promote education, and allow this school to thrive? Or will you let it fracture? I ask that you please stand with me tonight in supporting our community and the Northgate School District in which I've grown up in and loved. Thank you.
My name is Kelly Ayers. I live at 630 Taylor Avenue in Avalon. And I brought, sorry if I get emotional, but two of the faces that will be deeply affected if you cut our special education. If it wasn't for the aides helping my daughters they wouldn't be reading right now. I have a 20-year-old who graduated from here. If it wasn't for the AIDS, he wouldn't be going to college right now for business management. 25 to a class would be devastating to any child, smart or not smart. I also have a daughter who had to go to the alternative schools, who just got pushed aside because of behavior or whatever, education. And she now is in 12th grade here. And let me tell you the difference between being there and being here. She is now an honor roll student. She's thriving, and she's getting ready to go to college, and that's from these teachers at this school. I am begging you, actually, to reconsider your cut of aides. They are as important as a parent to these children.
Right.
Good evening, I'm Jonathan Gastu. I live at 25 North Howard Avenue. My biggest concern right now is why 2 years ago when Dr. Bonfield and the school board cut 5 teachers along with the 8 that were removed, which is a total of 11, why were they brought back now only to be removed again? And why now, 2 years later, with the new superintendent, is it that we're cutting 21 instead of 11? Also, why is it that the middle students, not the students at the top, not the students in the special ed, but the kids in the middle that are going to suffer the most from this? They all deserve the same education as they at the top and the kids at the bottom. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emily Lung, and I am at 35 South Harrison Avenue in Bellevue.
Good evening, I'm DJ Powers at 690 Shade Avenue.
And we've prepared a speech for you today. The goal of every school district is to do what is right for their students. Every decision should be made with the students in mind. The goal of a teacher is to educate the students. The goal of a principal is to run the school. The goal of a superintendent is to suggest changes that will benefit the school district as a whole. And the duty of the school board is to decide what action should be taken to improve the school district. Recently, it was suggested that 20% of the teachers should be cut. This is not a very good decision. If this many staff members were cut, students would be forced to learn in a larger environment. They would not receive the education that they need to succeed. Classes would be too large, and teachers would lose control of their classes. Behavioral problems would increase in the student population. Furthermore, I am a distinguished honor student, and I'm currently ranked #1 in my class.
Right.
I have received tons of one-on-one education with both the teacher's age and the teachers. Without this education and help, I would have not been able to succeed. So now I ask you this. Isn't the duty of the school to do what is right for the student population? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the school board, perhaps instead of cutting this many teachers, the school district should consider cutting some money from the budgets given to each activity or sport. If we cut some money from budgets given to sports team, musical, and other activities, we can conserve our resources. The activities receiving a budget could cut would simply have to fundraise to get the rest of the money that they need. If this suggestion was put into action, the school district could save a lot of money. I know this because my father is a proud alumni of Swickley Academy, and every time I see him, he says they would be proud to have me, and I tell him no because of dedication to this school. But these cuts are bringing ruin upon our heads. Maybe not yours and maybe not the teachers, but our students. My email inbox is full of emails from good colleges who want to have me because of the education I received here. And because of that education, which you are considering cutting, I may go to one of those schools and be president or some phenomenal thing. And so, as a student, I'm begging you, don't impose these cuts. And I want to ask you, is it your duty as the school board of the Northgate School District to decide what is right and what will benefit the students the most? Because if it is so, cutting this many teachers will not be in the students' favor. Thank you. Good night.
Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Nicole Quinn and I live on 202 Gilliland Place. And once I heard about all the cuts, it devastated me. And then hearing about taking classrooms and pushing them together and making them larger, I had like nightmares because I had flashbacks back when I was younger, when I went to Seville Elementary in the 3rd grade and we had so many kids that they had like 2 teachers, but that still was not enough for one classroom. I used to get picked on, called names, had my hair pulled, and kids would point at me and go, "Look at that thing on her face," and point at my birthmark. And I would report it to the teacher on a daily basis, and he wouldn't believe me. And he would go off to the other smarter kids because I was the average student. And I would report it to the other one, and she wouldn't care either. She didn't want to take time to listen to me because so-and-so needed more help than I did. And I would sit there devastated, crying. And I would have problems with my math work or spelling, and I'd be like, "Mr. Welch, can you please help me? I don't understand." But because he was so busy with Sally or Jimmy or Damien that he had no time for me or any other students. So we were behind. And then we got to 4th grade and they were like, "Hey, you're supposed to know this," but we didn't know because he had no time for any of the students in the class. And my brother also has Asperger's, and he was in the classroom of 35 or more kindergartners with one teacher who wasn't well educated enough because she was supposed to be a student teacher. And when he was in there, he got blamed for most of the trouble that was caused because if little Rebecca over there, say like she was picking on him, pushing him, and he would get angry and lash out because he didn't know any better at the time. And they would blame him for the cause of the problem because the teacher wasn't there to see what was actually going on. She was busy with someone else. And it affects students really badly. Like, I've been there, my brother's been there, and honestly, if the classrooms get pushed together, I know very well a bunch of these students and a bunch of these parents, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, are going to take their children and take them elsewhere. They will take them to a school that will take their time to work with them, or send them to cyber school because they have more help there instead of at Northgate. And honestly, I would leave if I had to. But I don't because I love this school. I want to be the first one in my family to graduate and go, "I graduated from Northgate Junior Senior High School and I am proud." If I do make it out there as an author, I want to be able to put it in my book that I graduated from the class of 2014, all because of the staff members, the community members, my friends, family, and the school board of Northgate Junior Senior Middle High School. And honestly, I just really wish that we would come together as one and sit down for a moment and say, "Okay, is this really necessary? Do we really have to cut so many teachers, so many of them who has helped so many students?" Like, I know teachers who have helped students so much who probably wouldn't even be here physically because they killed themselves because they just couldn't take it. And it's the truth. And I just want to say thank you to all the teachers out there who did take their time to help their students, along with parents and the school board.
Hi, my name is Ashley Barton. I'm also a student who is a junior at Northgate. I live at 622 Tingley Avenue. I realized something. You say the enrollment's down. What is cutting the teachers going to do about that? If anything, it will cause more people to pull out, go to cyber school, go to somewhere else. Why would we pull them out? That will just lower our enrollment more down. How will that help us? Then we'll pull more teachers, therefore losing more enrollment. And before we know it, where are we? We're on the ground. We're a good school. I love this school. My parents actually pulled me out, made me a new kid for the 3rd time, which I didn't want to do because I needed IEP help. I would is that assumption, 4th and 5th grade. Kindergarten through 3rd grade, I went to St. Mary's in Forest Hills. We moved out here when my parents got married. 4th and 5th grade, they put me at Assumption because, oh, it's a Catholic school. I always went to one. Then they realized they couldn't help me with my IEP. I have a math disability. The reason they sent me here is because they realized, oh, they will help you the most. Someone from Avonworth who gave me the IEP test said, go to Northgate. They're the best for needing help. What about that? Someone from Avonworth, our competitor, told us to go here because they gave us the best help. What about that? How is that going to help us if we pull out our support? I need my help. Yeah, I'm in Algebra 1, not like most juniors, but I can get the concept. It just takes me longer. That's my problem. But that's besides the point. How is pulling our teachers and our aides and everyone going to help our enrollment? If anything, it's going to lower it. Please, I beg you, think about what you're doing. If you're doing anything, think about cutting some of the sports that have maybe 1 or 2 people on the team. That's about new equipment and new uniforms and everything each year. That's about $1,000 at the least. Why would we keep those teams going if there's 1, maybe 2 people, like golf, no fence golf people, or stuff like that? It's not going to help removing it. And if it's not for money, then, and it's for the enrollment, how is that going to help? At all. It's not. It's going to lower our enrollment, it's going to lower our standards, and it's going to lower the ability to say, I am proud that I went to Northgate High School. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Lisa Dietrich. I live at 135 South Bryan Avenue. I am not only a resident in the community, but I am also a teacher assistant at the high school. Let me start by saying, one of the reasons why we purchased our home in this district, sight unseen, over the internet, from across the country, across the U.S., in Japan, was because of the school district. Northgate is a phenomenal district. However, many of you on the board know me personally. You know my husband personally. And you know how I feel about the job that you have to do. It's very difficult. I sit in classrooms every day where there are students who have learning disabilities, whether they be behavioral or emotional, students that need to be taken out of a classroom to keep the classroom settled and on task. I work with teachers who can go from teaching and speaking eloquently to academic students all the way up to high school genetics in 42 minutes. My concern is we're cutting so many TAs, proposed cuts to TAs. The rules of the IDEA Act state the schools cannot provide different or separate education classes that will prohibit special ed students the opportunity to participate or benefit from classes offered to regular ed students. I believe that any change to special education opens the door for lawsuits, complaints to not only county or state officials, but to you, the school board, which of course is your cross to bear. I want to also state that if we're concerned about testing, let's look at gaps in services, the testing scores, failure to deliver services or implement appropriate services in a timely fashion. Title I, I see that that's one of the cuts that we'll be making. One of my concerns is that we received this grant not too long ago. The community, I'm not sure if any of us have seen the actual details of that grant, but I'm wondering if that has anything to do with a certain amount of reading teachers, Title I teachers, and the like. Those are some of my concerns. I know several of you have students in the district, either getting ready to graduate, hence 2 or 3 years down the road, you won't face this problem. Those of us who will be here for the long haul, after my husband retired from 20 years in the military, We want this community to grow. We want to see the children succeed. Every teacher and student that I work with in this district, they know. I tell each and every one of them, the sky's the limit. I've had students who have graduated, gone on to the armed forces, college, and continually embrace each and every one of them as if they were my own. Making these cuts, I understand that you have to do what you gotta do, but I really don't think that it's fair, especially if you guys live in the district, you see us every single day. You have no idea, unless you've sat in a classroom, what we go through. With all due respect, I'm not only concerned about the cuts to the TAs, I'm also concerned about safety issues in the district, but I'm going to let my husband talk to you about that.
All right, my name is Barabbas Dietrich. That was my beautiful wife. And my two handsome kids are Devin and Miles Dietrich. I first want to start off, I've been in line for about an hour, and I'm looking at all the board members, and people come up here and they say their name. Superintendent, you write down the name, and I ain't seen you pick up a pen ever since you write down the name. It's almost as if when I was in line, I'm looking at you all like daydreaming up there, saying to yourself, we already decided what we're gonna do. Exactly. We're gonna go through the bullshit of listening to y'all, but we already made our decision up. That's what I see going on. And what makes me really feel like that is if the board members, through a show of hand, can just show me how many of you all live in Bellevue and have a kid that goes to the Northgate School District. Can you raise your hand? Stand up if you live in the district. And does your children all go to Northgate? They don't go to a private school? Okay, so there we go. So the leader of the board obviously don't live in our neighborhood, so why should even the leader really be concerned of what's gonna happen 2 or 3 years ago, because his term will be up and he'll move up to Pine Richland and get more money, more money. That's what it's about here. The majority of the board does not have a vested interest in the teachers' assistants, the students, or the education that they're gonna get, because they don't even live here or they don't have kids here. So what does it really matter? What I'd like to talk about the safety things of. You're cutting down 23 teachers, I think 10 TAs and another 3 TAs are retiring, so it might be like 35 people. You have a police officer that's up here 3 days a week, half the day, and you got Mr. Hurley roaming the halls doing whatever he do. What's gonna happen when you don't have those teachers? You have increased students, so there's gonna be more conflict going on amongst the kids. There's gonna be more fights going on, more things happening in the school, and you're not even gonna have the security measures. You don't have any metal detectors. You know, unless if somebody writes a bomb threat on the stall wall, you really don't have any security. So the question's been asked, what are you gonna do with the money that you're gonna save? Are you gonna invest that into security? That's a question. I want the answer. Are we going to get more security? Do you want me to repeat the question? Because I know y'all up there daydreaming. I said, what are we going to do about security when you take 35 administrators, like teachers and teachers' assistants out, and you have all the students in the class, and you have one cop 3 days a week roaming the halls a half a day? What are we going to do about safety and health issues like that? Because if my wife or my sons ever come home and give me something about something went down, I did do 20 years in the Marine Corps, and I'm gonna hold the leadership accountable to why my kid or wife got hurt. I ain't holding the kid responsible, because I'm asking all of you, what are you gonna do about the safety issues that we don't have at this school?
Mr. Dietrich.
I'm asking the superintendent. You do taxes or something, don't you?
Excuse me, sir. I'm the presider at the meeting, okay?
Do your kids go to this school?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so what are we going to do about our kids?
Okay, well, as far as questions to the board, the purpose of this session is for the public to address the board.
No, the purpose of this...
We cannot engage in an interchange question and answer session at this time.
I got 5 minutes. I only took about 3 to get where I'm at. You got 2 minutes to answer the question.
No, sir, we do not have to answer.
See what I'm saying? They already made up their mind. They already know what they're going to do. They already decided.
In addition, sir, any discussions of security issues would be a danger to our students if we would reveal any kind of planning.
You ain't got any. You ain't got any. You just been lucky, that's all.
That's a tough act to follow. My name's Joe Pickle. I live in 86 South Harrison, and I think I'll start like the one teacher did, with praise. I would not want to be in Dr. Pasquarelli's shoes right now because there's been a lot of issues put toward you, and I think this board has to take some sobering thought and focus, and they have to answer this group. All these people came out because of the wonderful community that it is. It's a weekday. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got to get up early tomorrow. I got 5 hours of email when I get back. And I'm not vested like these people. But I think you need to know this. I'm not vested. I didn't move here. I moved here because I needed a walking school district. My kids were latchkey kids. And this school system provided the opportunity for them to grow and to succeed. They may not have taken it, or they may not take it, but the opportunity was there. Every teacher, every coach, everyone that put their time in because I couldn't, you guys have no idea what you have. Everyone in this room is blessed, and I've lived all over the country, trust me. So the onus is on you to answer them, and the onus is on you to keep the course. But I will tell you this. My baby is 17 years old. He's going to graduate from this fine school, and he's going to go to college. And then I'm going to marry a woman that has a 3-year-old. And if things go the way they could go, I'm just going to move. I'm just, not because I want to, and this is for the board, not because I want to, because I will have to. I will have to, because when I'm at work, the crazy hours I work, I can get a phone call right now and I got to go, I can't worry. And I have to know that the dedication I've seen from all these teams, I mean, I can't speak enough about, I don't think you guys know what you have because you live here. I've lived all over this country, and I'm telling you what, you guys are blessed, and you've made that. So fight for it, and I wouldn't want to be you. You have a tough choice, but I really do think you owe these people that are going to stay here, for sure, because they grew up here, and I'm a transplant, you owe them the answers. So please give them.
My name is Elizabeth Enst, and I live at 828 Malvern Road, and I am the mother of a special needs child at Avalon Elementary, and I'm also a teacher's aide at Bellevue Elementary. I want to talk to you all about the detrimental effects that this school district will see if the teacher's aides are furloughed. This is my day at Bellevue Elementary. I start my day by running fast forward. While I'm running fast forward, I'm also shelving the books at the library because, in case parents don't know this, the library aide position was cut. At any given time, there are over 100 books that need to be shelved at Bellevue Library. If you furlough the teacher's aides, who's going to run fast forward for the 5th graders? Who's going to shelve the library books? After that, I go to a classroom that has 4 life skills, learning support students assigned to it. After the teacher's done instructing the students, I sit with those students, I reread the notes to them, I answer their questions, I proofread their work. If you furlough the teacher's aides, who is going to help those students? Not the teacher. She's got 16 to 18 other students to work with at that time. If she has to take that time to work with those students, that is less instructional time for every other student. From there, I go to a classroom that has several behavioral issues. I am the professional that escorts those students to the principal's office, to the guidance counselor's office. If the teacher has to stop her class to escort those students, that is less instructional time. If you furlough the teacher's aides, it will be the teachers taking the kids to the principal's office, the guidance counselor's office. That is less instructional time for all other students. After that, I go to a classroom that has an ESL student. I sit with that student, I help him, I go over the math with him, I explain math in terms that he can understand. I also read tests to that student. If you furlough the teacher's aides, who's going to sit with that student and read the tests to him? Not the teacher. She's got about 16 other students to deal with. What? Yeah, that's right. If you furlough the teacher's aides, that means less instructional time for all other students. From there, I go to a second grade classroom. I don't know if anybody here has ever worked in a second grade classroom. They can be a very, very needy bunch. Okay. Last week, we dealt with a student with a bloody nose. The week before that, we dealt with a student vomiting. I am the person who escorts those students to the nurse's office. If that teacher has to take time out to deal with those issues, that means less instructional time for all other students. Last responsibility of the day, I walk a student to the bus. Who's going to walk the special needs students to the buses when, if this teacher's aides are furloughed? The teachers at that time are talking to the parents. So remember this, you furlough the teacher's aides, that means less instructional time for all other students.
Hi, my name is Dana McLean. I live at 100 Sheridan Avenue. I am a teacher, not here, in a neighboring district, and I have between 25, 27, 28 students in my classroom. At any given time, I have between 4 and 5 special ed students in my room, every period of the day. And I teach in a middle school, so I have 6 classes, 4 to 5 students. If I didn't have my aide, I don't know what I would do. Because everything that she just said is 100% true. I deal with this on a daily basis. I come home exhausted. I come home frustrated, not for me, for those kids. Because those kids are not getting what they need. Because I can't give it to them because there's 28 kids in that room. My aides are invaluable to me. I need them. We are in a district that right now our AYP is plummeting. We're not making it. And you can ask my advanced child here, who had to sit through 6 weeks of prep of pre-algebra and an advanced geometry class so that their Keystone scores were fine. And that's just happened at the beginning of the school year. You add a classroom of 25 to 30 students, it's just going to get worse. That's more time you're going to have to spend with these kids. Okay, security. I am a sense of security for your children. I am a sense of security as well as my aide. It takes the two of us to make sure that when we're doing our drills, because we do drills at our school, that we make sure our kids are safe. And it takes both of us. We live between Route 65 and 279. That is an easy exit for somebody who wants to hurt our children. I don't need to remind you that we had a drive-by shooting that happened right outside Bellevue Elementary. There's your sense of security, right here, those aides. The parent left who criticized teachers for discussing these actions, the proposals, and she left. And I don't know if she was made aware or not, but our superintendent did make an announcement pulling our student government to discuss with them the rumors and proposals. So this wasn't a teaching thing. I praise these teachers. I have 2 students, both of my children are advanced students. We're talking 98%. And that's not me. That is the people that are in this room, and I thank you. You are here because we put you there. We are here to remind you that we put you there. So you need to think about what we want, because that's why you are here.
Hi, my name is Mike Giordino. I'm in 10th grade and I live on 27 Keswick Avenue. And I just wanted to come up here and say that I am one of the average students at Northgate, and I'm not in any special ed classes or honors classes. And I just want to say that all the teachers' aides that work here give me so much help and get me through all my classes and have always been by my side. Miss D, Miss Worst, Miss Haig, all of them have always been there for me and worked hard. And some of them have left and some of them but I always remember the teachers' aides and all the teachers that I've had, and I went to Northgate School District my whole life, and I remember all the teachers that I've had and how great they were for me and how well they taught me and how great they are at their profession. And I just want to say that this thing you're doing right now is not good for any of the students, because they're not going to get the education that everybody else is getting in the future.
My name is Chris Harris. I live at 630 Taylor Avenue. I'm a graduate of 2011. Because of this school, I have learned a lot. I've been to a city school when I was in elementary school. I've been to Westview, and I've been to a cyber school. I have never, ever, ever gotten the education from any of those schools like I have at Northgate. Miss Moore, Miss Andriniak, Miss Fish, Miss Dietrich, all of them, I wouldn't have even graduated. I'm terrible when it comes to schoolwork, and I will admit that. I am now in college for business administration. I am working my way up the corporate ladder with a phone provider. I work full-time for them. I go to school full-time between studying. I wouldn't have had any of that if it wasn't for these teachers pushing me every day, making sure I come to school, making sure I got that education that I needed. Taking these TAs away, taking these teachers away, aren't going to give any of these students the opportunity that I had. They're not going to be able to have the good education, have the college opportunities that we get. Putting more of those students in there, and I can tell you that going from a city school, you don't get the attention that you need. Having those extra teachers sitting beside me, pulling me out of the classroom when I had to take a test, helped a tremendous amount. I couldn't even tell you, I wish I could give you more than this. That's how grateful I am to these teachers. Taking that away, thank you.
Ames. I live at 26 North Harrison, and I don't exactly feel that I'm very bad at public speaking, and I do this at great discomfort to myself, but this is worth it. I have two little brothers that go to this school. I have a little brother that's 3 that I want to go to this school. I had never stayed at a school for more than 1 year until I started at Northgate in the 9th grade, and to that point, even halfway through the year, I was afraid I would have to start another school and be anew all over again. Even though everyone said I would be okay, I did not believe them because I'm a skeptic. And you want to know something? I didn't do anything that year. I passed. I got excellent grades. I was on the Distinguished Honor Roll. I did everything right, but I did not participate in anything except the musical program, and I volunteered in the library. I didn't do interaction. And you want to know something? I've met your kids, and they're wonderful people, everyone that I've met, and I love them. I love the people that live here. I worked in the elementary drama program, and I know kids from the 4th grade that will come up in the street and talk to me and say they were so glad I could help them. I know kids in the 10th grade that I started tutoring when they were 8 years old. And you want to know something? They are so smart, but even then they couldn't always get the attention they needed, but because they needed more help. And there was nothing wrong with that. But we still need the teachers here, because I wouldn't do anything if it weren't for the teachers here. I did not want to show up half the time last year, admittedly. I was a senior, I was kind of lazy, but I had 3 AP courses, and I thought, well, I could get college credit for this at least. Something. And I had excellent, excellent friends, even though they weren't in my grade. I had a 7th grade friend who's now in 8th grade here that I adore more than anything else. I have friends with sophomores and juniors, and I speak on behalf of all of them. that if we lose the teachers that let us sit in their classrooms during lunch because we hate being in the cafeteria, that if we lose the teachers that come in early to school because they think that maybe we need someone to talk to, if we lose the teachers that give us all of the attention we need, if we lose the teachers that like having us around, honestly, we're not friendly people. It's hard to deal with teenagers. It's hard to deal with kids. We can't lose them because honestly, no one else, it feels like no one else wants to invest in us when we're here. And if you take away teachers, it's just gonna feel like we're on a giant conveyor belt. We're just products being molded to be exactly perfect. We're going to go to elementary school, we're going to learn basic skills. We're going to go to middle school, we're going to get picked on. We're going to go to high school, we're still going to get picked on. And then, no teachers are going to be left to care because they are afraid. And then we're going to go to college and maybe we'll be miserable there because we didn't learn what we needed to know because we got past being average because no one invested their time in us. I walked on that graduation stage and I went from having basically nothing doing in extracurriculars in 9th grade, and I have been in almost every club. I've been in multiple sports. I have actually made friends. And I wouldn't have done this if the teachers didn't pull me out of my study hall to play Uno with the special ed kids. I wouldn't have done this if I didn't have Mrs. Reed encourage me to sew curtains for... She's excited, she likes it. Sew curtains for Bellevue Pool. And I wouldn't have it if I didn't have Mr. Michelow telling me that it was okay to spend my study hall when he had lunch in his room because he liked talking to me. I wouldn't have it if I didn't have Mr. Smith letting me come in on my study halls to edit videos about the football team, which honestly, I didn't even understand football. I just kind of did it. I've had excellent teachers here. I learned 2 languages. I got 4s and 5s on all 5 of my AP exams. And you want to know something? I would not have done anything if it weren't for my teachers encouraging me all through the way.
Hello, I am Kylie Saunders, 207 Cleveland Avenue in Avalon. I am currently a 6th grade student at Avalon Elementary in the Northgate School District. Now, I'm here to talk about how every single student at the Northgate School District might feel if all these cuts and everything are done. Through a long period of time in my school years, I have struggled in math. So, through a lot of years, every teacher they tried, and most of them succeeded in teaching me every basic I need to know. But I still struggled. So then I came to 6th grade thinking, oh my gosh, math. I was scared. I thought this teacher might be the rest trying to teach me, but not fully understanding the way I need to be taught. But then I met Mrs. Roberts, and at first I was very scared. I thought she was going to be like all the other teachers who didn't fully understand me. But she made learning very enjoyable, and it went from, oh no, math, to yay, math class. I wasn't scared anymore. But then I think about, what if I lost Miss Roberts or Miss Smith or any of my teachers, they were replaced by somebody who, like all the other teachers, didn't fully understand me. It would be hard. I would probably be frustrated like I was before. It would probably be a very hard year for me like it was before, and a lot of the other years. So, I was very scared of math, and then I came in, Miss Roberts showed me a whole new way of math, a new way to do everything I needed, and I was like, yes, math class, whenever I would go. And then I'm looking around the crowd and I see many of my teachers in the past, and I think, what if I lost one of them? Each one of them taught me something that I did not know the year before, and I'll know now. What if I lost one of them? I wouldn't know all that I know now. I am a B average, usually in math, on my report card, a B or a low A. I would not be where I am now. So if I lost any of those teachers, I would probably not be the place I am now. Last year, there was a special aid teacher who I had a very strong connection with. I talked to her a lot. Whenever I didn't understand something, I could just quickly ask her, and she would tell me about it and teach me about it. Now I think, what if I lost her? Last year wouldn't have been as enjoyable as it was any of the other years. So, what I'm really here to say is, if every student has a teacher who has taught them a lot more than anyone has ever been able to taught them, what if they all lost that one special teacher to them? We would not be where we were today. If a lot of the special aid teachers were gone, a lot of the students who struggled would be far back and struggling a lot more. So I'm just saying, keep the teachers, because each student has a special bond with one of the teachers, and if they lost that teacher, they would lose that special bond, they would lose that wanting to learn, and they wouldn't be in the place they are now. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Ishmael Whitehead. I live at 556 Forest Avenue. I graduated with the 2010 class. And I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to fight the matter. I'm just here to voice my opinion. I actually, like most of the people here, I probably don't even know all of what's going on. I heard that the teachers were in trouble, so I came running. And I actually didn't even plan on speaking today, so I'll try to keep this brief. I made this while sitting down over there. Growing up, I moved around more times than I could even count. There were times where I literally had to fight my way to get to and from school, and Lord knows I had the scars to prove them. Then I came here, and it was like the entire world changed. This school, this town, these teachers, everything that I haven't seen anything like this in so long. So I stand here not asking you to save my teachers. I'm asking you to save my friends, my own personal paradise.
I'm Louise Pascal at 209 McKinley Avenue. My husband and I moved here in the year 2000 to build our home and have a family. And I guess my biggest concern is that with all of the extreme changes that you're going to be making to the community or to the school, what's going to stop you from making those changes next year or the year after that, and taking away from us the liberal arts, the music, the art classes, the chorus, the band. We're talking about, we have the Arts Odyssey that we have in March that the whole community comes out to support every year, and I wonder what's going to happen with that. Is that going to actually stay here in Northgate, or is that going to go away because you're going to be able to make these changes next year? You're not making any promises. You haven't been transparent in any way. We haven't seen any written format of what you're actually proposing or going to guarantee to us. And my concern is that there's nothing that you're standing behind other than a microphone that you're not speaking into.
Excuse me for 1 second. I did want to, I heard you say again about the chorus and the band and Art Odyssey. I'm not recommending that we eliminate those. So I just want to clarify that again when I hear it come up. I just want to clarify that I'm not eliminating it.
You said that for this year, but what's going to stop you from not making those changes after?
Okay, hi, I'm Jennifer McWilliams, and I live at 656 Grandview Avenue. I am a graduate of Northgate. I was a substitute at Northgate. I was a teaching assistant at Northgate, but I'm here tonight speaking as a parent of 2 students at Northgate. It has been adamantly said this proposed cut is not a budget issue. It is strictly due to the decline in enrollment. If this is true, then we need to make Northgate an enticing school to the families in this district that choose to send their children to other schools. Other schools such as cyber schools, private schools, even special needs schools. Maybe we need to do something to our school to make it equipped to handle students that go to the Children's Institute, that go to Watson. Let's empower our school. If the pattern is a continuing decline in enrollment, then the problem will continue to arise and cuts will continue to need to be made every year. There is no resolve if this is truly an enrollment issue, other than to market our school to increase enrollment. It seems there is a bigger issue at hand than sheer numbers. Budgeting, perhaps? Just saying. What is causing the decline in enrollment? As of right now, with this proposal, what do we have to offer students and parents to make it worth their while to send their children to attend Northgate? In 2012, we are ranked 393rd out of 553 schools in Allegheny County, according to our PSSA scores, which has been a steady decline, just like our enrollment since 2007. And in 2007, we were 166th out of 500. And I know I went to Northgate, and my math is right in saying that's a failing grade. So what are we doing to better equip our teachers than to give them best practices to make them have the most effective classrooms in order to best teach our children, other than threatening to cut them and increase their classroom sizes? Again, I ask, what are we doing to better our school for our children? As a parent, small student-to-teacher ratios are certainly more inviting. One-on-one attention is not only important but necessary for success. I'm not certain we've been utilizing our resources to their full potential, and this is certainly a wake-up call. The reality is that there is more work to be done, hard work, and we are at a pivotal point in our district right now, and I am gravely concerned with these proposed cuts, Dr. P., that they are not in the best interest of our students. Now, I understand people fear change, but people don't fear good change, and we are fearful of this change because it's not good. Dr. P, at Thursday's meeting, you could not give not one benefit to having larger class sizes supporting your plan. That is a clear indication to me as a teacher in a surrounding district. I'm also a teacher, so I can speak from being in classrooms of large classes and small, that this plan may not have been thoroughly thought through. In conclusion, the superintendent has made proposals, and in response, the borough has spoken, the parents and students have spoken, and the teachers and teachers' aides have spoken. Now it's up to our school board to listen. The fate of our district lies in your vote. Please vote responsibly.
My name is Dustin Smith, 128 Prospect Street, Avalon. I sat down once because there wasn't a lot of attention that looked like we were getting from the table up front. And I felt like, not necessarily maybe your minds have been made up, because there are a few of you up there that I see that spark. I see that spark because I know that each one of you got into education or surrounded yourself with education to better the community, to better our children. So I know that that's in there somewhere, and I'm hoping that we can find it. Dr. P, you sat there with your finger on your mouth the whole time. Deep in thought, we don't know. There's a gentleman sitting next to you, and I apologize, I don't know your name. Where exactly is the forum where we're supposed to be able to ask you the questions, where you can give us the answers on the record? Because I'd like to know where that's at. Seriously, where's that forum? Because there's a whole lot of people in here, and when I got back into this line, I was the last person in it. So there's a lot more people that want to know answers, and we're not getting them. Okay, this is our community, and we're fighting for our children, we're fighting for our future, but we're leaving it in your hands. These are capable hands. You're here because you're elected. You're here because these people have faith that you're going to make that right decision. Please do not trust a proposal from someone who's been part of this school district for 6 months. I see you show up when there's cameras and when there's good press and when there's things going on. And I know that you've made yourself available for conversations on the phone or conversations after one meeting or another, but nothing's really been on the record, okay? So forgive me if my skepticism falls into play here, where I just don't believe that you have the best interest of our school district at heart. I know it's hard to be questioned because, trust me, I'm in a leadership position at my job too, and it's hard to have people come up to you and ask you if you're doing the right thing or if you have their best interest at heart. Maybe you do, but this doesn't seem like the best answer, or an answer at all, as to why, if this isn't about budget, because we know you can't say that, we know you can't say it. If it's not about budget, then why? That's the answer that everybody here came out to see tonight. We never got an answer because this isn't the right forum. But you're not giving us the right forum. Come on, roll your eyes some more. It's okay, I understand. You're frustrated. But
Sir, I didn't roll my eyes.
Now I'm blind. I'm sorry.
I'm being very respectful.
And I'm trying to. Trust me.
So, I mean, I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Okay. I got into this, I will say this for myself.
Please.
Okay. I got into education because I very much so care about students and I care about kids. I'm from a family of educators. I've made that statement, I'll make it again. Okay? I also have heard from all of these folks around here today that one thing that you truly love is your Northgate School District, correct?
Sure.
Correct?
Absolutely.
I've heard that.
Yep. But you're not part of it.
So what I'm going to say to you is this, that we do have a decline in enrollment and I have to make those adjustments. I am going to do my best when I put forth a recommendation that we could sustain a quality education in this school district that you so much love, dear to your hearts. And that is the job that I was hired to do. And that is what I'm going to try to do. And maybe you may not understand.
Let him speak. Come on, let him speak, guys. Come on.
So if you wanted me to answer the questions, I'm trying to.
Yes, please.
So
please.
I'm telling you all that I do have a care for students, and particularly your students in your community. Whether you see that or not, I cannot help that. What I can tell you is I've put a lot of thought into this, and you may say I wasn't here for a very long time, and I respect that. But this is my recommendation to the school board, and I do have the best interest of the students in mind, and I do have the best interest of this community in mind to sustain this school district. So that is what I'm saying. We've had a significant decrease in enrollment, and I have to adjust according to that.
Why? Wait, guys, hold on. So we've had a decline, correct? That's your statement. We've had a decline in enrollment.
You have had a decline in enrollment.
Have we had a decline in enrollment in every single grade, K through 12? Because those are the proposed cuts you're asking for.
If you look at the entire school district, I mean, I could read you the numbers.
There's 3 schools. I'm asking, seriously.
Sir, I can read you the K to 12 numbers from the years if you would like those.
You have these numbers from 2005, because that's when you're asking for us to compare this to, right?
Right, so I mean, I don't have every single number, but I'll give you 05, 06, we had 1,392. No, actually, it would be you would be looking at 03, 04, or no, 02, 03, which is 1,548.
You started in 2005 at the beginning of this meeting, sir.
No, 10 years, I said.
10 years.
10 years. I started with 1995 at 1,644. I will give you the 10-year decrease in enrollment. You can check my math. 02, 03. Which is 10 years, 1,548. Currently, it says 1,211, and actually the most recent report is 1,203.
Okay, so what's going to create enrollment from cuts of 22 teachers?
Well, I would answer that by saying, if you look at what you have, we've had a constant decline in enrollment still in spite of this, correct?
Correct. So what's cutting 22 teachers going to do to change that? It's not. Correct? It's not going to create an environment where people are going to want to bring their children to. We're already telling them, hey, people, you're leaving. Go ahead and leave because we're just going to cut more teachers. That's not a solution. It's not about money. It's about enrollment. We want people to come back. You're asking people to choose to leave because that's what's going to happen. There are plenty of choices out there for us to make, and you're forcing our hands to make those decisions for our children's future. I love my child. I love all three of them. I have two of them that go to Avalon. One is in the pre-K program, one's in second grade. He loves his teacher. He's had her twice. She's amazing. Okay? I know that you've been there. I've seen you there. You see the kids. I know when I first saw you the very first day of school, I thought, man, this guy's, he might be finally what we need. You may be that guy. This is your chance to prove us right. You're here to do a job. You're here to save our school district. Then don't cut 22 teachers' jobs. Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Collins. I live at 828 Taylor Ave, and I have a third grader in Avalon Elementary. To touch on a point of what the gentleman before me said, you said, like we said, you've only been here half a year. So to make such a big decision in half a year to cut that many teachers, to sit down and crunch your numbers, what your numbers don't show is the sense of community that you see here. Your numbers don't show how much our kids love those teachers and how much these teachers, love these kids. You cannot make an educated cut like this, an educated decision. This is not educated. It's maybe what you were brought in to do to wipe it clean. I don't know. But all I know is 22 teachers, 11 aides is going to do nothing but put our kids uneducated, and then they can make uneducated decisions like you did.
My name is Jordan Thompson, and I live at 510 East Avenue. I've been in Northgate my entire life. I am a senior at Northgate, and in elementary school, I was considered a gifted kid. Aside from that, though, I was probably one of the laziest kids you will ever meet. And there are probably teachers here that could attest to this. But without the teachers that are in this district, I would not be nearly as successful as I am today. I am a high honor roll student. I am in honors and AP classes, and I would not be here if it weren't for the teachers in this district. In addition, with the regards to not cutting AP classes, I know that it says that, but are all the teachers accredited to teach these things? Mm-hmm. So if you get rid of the teachers that teach them, aren't they being cut anyway? That's
Hello, I'm Noah Brooks. I like to say I live at the most beautiful place in Avalon. I'm at the corner of Elizabeth and Taylor, 859 Taylor to be exact. I'm not an eloquent man. I'm not a very articulate man. Sometimes I get my emphasis on my wrong syllable, so bear with me. I heard a woman tonight say that our AYP scores are down. I want to ask a question. When we got the reading grant last year that was over $700,000, why did we cut a library's aid and only have a librarian in Avalon 2 days a week and a librarian in Bellevue 3 days a week? When an independent study showed from a group in Colorado that studied the Philadelphia School District, if you have a full-time librarian, AYP scores, especially in the reading portion, tend to go up. And most of the students are advanced when they have a full-time librarian. So that's my first point. I didn't even want to speak tonight because I'm a bit of a cynic, but my wife said, trust the process. Don't go in there thinking, because I do. I thought the school board's already going to have their mind made up. And I'm going to follow my wife's advice, and that's why I'm speaking. She said, and she's a teacher in the Still Rock School District. She said, trust the system. And so that's why I'm here tonight. I am concerned that the board will vote yes to all of Dr. P's recommendation. But that is just what they are. They're just recommendations. Dr. P, you made that perfectly clear in Avalon's PTO meeting. You said it over a dozen times that these are just your recommendations. These are just your recommendations. And that's something that stuck in my head. I would ask the board, what similar model have we looked at in another school district Or have we looked at this proposed cut to the school districts for the teachers and for the aides and said, yes, this is the right cut? Or is it just something that Dr. P has brought from his own and has proposed to you? I would say you can't have one man making a decision for our whole community. We're your constituents. You work for us. You have to listen to us also, not just to Dr. P. We're the people you see at store, at church, in the neighborhood. We're the ones that are going to be here long after Dr. P isn't. A few of the questions I asked you, Dr. P, at our PTO meeting in Avalon. Do you have any kids in the district? You said, no, you don't have any kids. I asked you, do you live in our district? You said, no, you don't live in our district. I asked, if all things, my last question I asked you is if all things were good and even, and at the end of 4 years when your contract's up, and the school board loves you, the community loves you, you turn the school district around, everything's great, enrollment's up, we hired all of our teachers back. And at the end of that time, when your contract is up, if another school district comes knocking, and they got $250,000 to offer you a year, would you leave? Now I'm going to paraphrase here. You said ultimately that you don't know what the future holds, and you couldn't say either way. That to me sounds like you've already made your decision. This community, and most importantly, our children need the board to consider postponing these decisions until we can look at it further. I would like to close with a quote from a well-known cynicist, H.L. Mencken. He said, and I quote, "For every problem, there is a solution that is simple, neat, and wrong." I firmly believe as a whole that Dr. Pasquarella's recommendations are simple, neat, and wrong.
My name is Sharon Amick, and I live at 126 North Jackson Avenue, and I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity to speak. While there are many cuts that I'm concerned about and concerned about how they'll affect my children, I think just one that I want to speak to that hasn't been talked about a lot tonight is the move of Bellevue children to Avalon. I have a daughter, Grace, who's in 4th grade, and she has been at Bellevue since kindergarten. Bellevue is her home. She loves the teachers, the guidance counselor, the cafeteria staff, everyone there. That's her second family. I don't want the decision about what school she should go to be based on the street that she lives on, and I'm assuming that where I live that could possibly happen. I don't want it to be based on the street that she lives on. I don't want it to be based on low enrollment. I don't want it to be based on something that I can't understand when it's not tied to a budgetary issue. I want the decision to be based on what's best for my Grace. And I know that it will not be good for her to be taken after 5 years at Bellevue to be moved to Avalon. While I know that Mr. Peacock and the Avalon teachers and staff will welcome her with open arms and provide her a great education, it's not in her best decision, in her best interest. It will not make sense to me or to her, and I think will damage her if she has to get up and move. And when I have to sit and tell her, Grace, you have to move to Avalon, the first thing she's going to ask me is why. And I don't have a good answer. If I have a good answer, I'll tell her why. But you've not given me a good answer. So if this goes through, I ask you to come into my home. You don't know my Grace, but she will not let you out of the house until you tell her why.
My name is Sam Sessi. I live at 303 Cleveland Avenue in Avalon. I wanted to be one of the last to speak, but judging by this line and the people in this community who care about this issue, I'm not. I wanted to be last because this session is called Visitors Commentary, but to Dr. Pasquarella and to the board, I don't really see myself as a visitor, because for the past 2 years I've been the student council representative to the school board. So I have had a lot of time over these past 2 years to see how the school board has responded to issues in the school district. And to start off with, in a meeting that I just came from prior to this one, there was a packet that was handed out to those at a Student Affairs Committee meeting by Mr. Peacock. That there's a quote on here, part of a quote from author Thomas Friedman that says, "Average is over." And for all districts throughout the state, average should not be what is wanted. All districts should want to be above average. If aides are eliminated, if teaching staff is eliminated, then how is this district going to be above average? For a second point, we were also handed a packet at this same meeting that discussed increasing mathematics standards for education in the state of PA. Now, increasing education standards for the state is something that's discussed at a lot of the meetings that I've been to for the past couple years. And so if part of the recommendations by Dr. Pascarilla is to eliminate some of the aides, is to eliminate any help that students can get, then how do you expect students to meet the standards that are coming? And part of my conclusion, the grant that's been discussed a lot over the past couple of months is the Keystones to Opportunity grant, that I would like to praise this school's administration for working so hard to get. Through being at the meetings for 2 years, I can attest to the administration of how hard it was for this district to get the grant. But with all the cuts and aids that are coming, what opportunities will you leave students at the district to have in the coming years? In one final moment of conclusion, the flyers that were passed out throughout the district, the SOS flyers, the Save Our School flyers, I would like to, if I'm able. There is a bracelet that was made by a parent of this community that says SOS on it for Save Our Schools. And I'd like to leave it right here for the board. Just so you guys can have a visual aid of what I really hope you guys do. I hope you guys can save our schools, and I hope you guys in the end do the right thing. I've known all of you for the past 2 years as a student council representative, and I'm proud to say that I know that you guys in the end will make the right decision, and I hope that you guys do. Thank you.
My name is Tyler Hempfield. I'm a former student from Northgate. Without the teachers here, I've gone through different schools, and I came here and the teachers worked with my mom to push me to get tested. Without them pushing my mom for me to get tested, I would never realize that I had a learning disability and everything else. Coming up into the high school, I got bonds with teachers that eventually became family to me. I can go to them whenever I have a problem, when I feel like I'm going to break down, and know that they're there before and after school, and I can talk to them. I can go up to them and be like, "Hey Mom, I have a problem, can you help me?" And knowing that they're there to help me with that means a lot. Somebody that I can't go to besides my parents, that's something that kids here have. That's what they need. There's teachers here that have helped me break down math that I couldn't understand. And now that they have done that, I'm able to sit down there and be like, "Oh, hey, you did teach me that. I know what that is now." And without them being here and teaching me what I do know now, I have no idea where I would be. They have taught me so much, from growing up to schoolwork to telling me that I'm going to be more than what I am now. They make me want to go further than what I am. And without them pushing me every day, I have no idea where I'd be. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Isaac Ames and I live on 26 North Harrison Ave. Currently, I'm the class president of the 2016 class. About a month ago, before anybody knew about these cuts, my mother asked me if I wanted to move to another district because we need a new house, and I told her no. I love Northgate. Why would I want to move from a school that gives me the attention I need and the education I need to be successful? I used to go to a different school, and in the early elementary years, I could not read at all. I was having a lot of trouble, but then I moved to Northgate. And however many years later, I'm now in the top 10% in my class. But now, I'm not sure if I'll get the education I need, the education that my peers need, and I'll move. I already have thoughts about it, and I'm sure my peers do too. There's a lot of other school districts that can provide us a better education with these cuts. And with all these cuts, what is attractive about a school that can provide us good attention and a good education? One of our goals should be to see a rise in population and enrollment. And who will want to move to Northgate if we have nothing good to offer? So I have two questions. With these cuts, why would I want to stay? Why would I want to stay when there are better schools that can provide me for my future? And also, why would other students want to come to Northgate? There's plenty of good surrounding schools like Avon North and North Hills. Why come to Northgate when we have nothing to offer? Thank you.
My name is Joel Whitehead. I live at 556 Forest Avenue. I didn't show up here in a suit or with a long list of questions. In fact, I actually had no plans of speaking, so if I start stumbling over my words and maybe faint on the spot, please don't judge me. There's not much I can say up here that wouldn't just be adding on to everything everyone else said and just be a repetitive waste of everyone's time. So I'm just going to give a personal anecdote and be on my way. As my brother said, we went to a couple of crap schools before we came here. Him more than me, but I got my share of it. I saw teachers who just wrote me off because I sat in the back or didn't talk and things like that. Whenever I came here, I expected the same treatment. I did the same thing that I did in those old schools. I didn't pay attention. I slept in class, as many of you can attest. And I expected to be wrote off the next year. But next year, whenever I start having trouble in classes, whenever I start having trouble, period, I remember my old teachers coming up to me, asking me if there's something wrong, pushing me to do better. Coming here today, I saw people from back when I was in 6th grade. I already graduated last year. That was 8 years ago, and they still remember my name. They still remember who I am. All I'm saying is, you can't expect that kind of devotion, that kind of relationship with teachers if you cut 22 of them. I'm not going to go back.
Hi, I'm Mike Rakovich from 808 Melbourne Road, and I just can't help but notice tonight that these people all had so many of the same things that I was feeling, so many things, the same things to say that I would have said, that I don't need to say now. The life experience, the collective group of these people is so much more valuable than putting some numbers down on paper. the numbers of just, this many students, this many teachers, so we need to cut this percentage of teachers, it doesn't make any sense. Things have changed to the point where there are different reasons for why we have the teachers we have. There are plenty of reasons for this community especially to continue to push forward with the quality of education, which means not increasing class size. We absolutely have to keep the small class, keep the grades up, keep the test scores up, and continue to raise the ranking. The whole community depends on this. There isn't one thing from property value to just the level of people that you have into the community, incomes, tax money, which we all need. Those are the things that grow the community. If any of that is lost, we've lost what we had. I just want to remind the board to please listen to this collective group of knowledge and life experience, and not just one person.
Hi, I'm Carlo Finati. I'm at 800 Melbourne Road. I've been a resident for about 6 years, transplanted from the South Hills. So we have a son and we want to raise him inside the school district. So I started looking at the attrition rates, the budget cuts, and it's being ran like a business as it should. I can respect a budget just like the next person. So there's attrition rates going down, but what are we doing to increase the student population? What are you doing to help drive people into the borough? People come to a borough because of the school district. So if you remove 22 teachers, you're going to lessen the school district and people are going to leave. So I think that it's very important. I'm just reiterating what a lot of people have said. So I mean, really, there's not much to say besides, if you come to a happy medium, not that I'm suggesting laying anyone off, but you have to look at the total financial value of everything and try to find out if something else will work. I went out and pulled some of the financial statistics, and my numbers can be skewed because the internet's not right half the time. But I found that said, the total Northgate revenue was $18.8 million. I found expenses at 17.2, which left over 1.6 million at the bottom line. Maybe my numbers are skewed, but 1.6 at the bottom line, even if it doesn't sound like we have a budget issue yet. And if you're trying to make cuts for 5 years out, maybe give it 12 to 24 months to see if you can make change, drive people in, and just try to adjust your plan, because right now I don't think the plan's going to work.
My name is Chris Ayers. I'm a 1990 graduate of Northgate High School. All 5 of my kids also go to Northgate. 8 years ago, I turned down a job in Daytona Beach, Florida to stay here because of the school districts, because Florida schools are behind. So, on what part of the money that you're trying to save, what are you going to do with that money to bring people into this community? That's all.
Hi, my name is Shane Adams. I'm living at 564 Dawson. I do multiple sports here. I came here 8th grade transferring from North Hills. I've been in public schools. My first year, after coming from North Hills, I thought it was going to be tough. I mean, at North Hills, I had the friends, but I didn't have the teacher support. 8th grade, I thought it was just going to be rough. Just decided to lay back, but I had the help of teachers. 9th grade year, I left. See if I had a better opportunity somewhere else. I moved to Georgia. I came back within 3 months, forced my mom to find a house here. We started going here again. I still had the same teacher support. I have Miss Dietrich, who's always been there. She always been there to help me with my questions when there was no help for the teachers, when they didn't have time to. Miss McNella, Miss Farmer also. In the first period class, there were 6 students in the first period of her day. She has time to help all of them, especially with an aide who's there now. We were there being till April. cutting teachers' aid, I don't think would be a good idea. And on behalf of a good friend of mine, Tony Ellis, and I quote, I've been in 3 different high schools, Stowe Rocks, North Allegheny, and here. This is the best school I went to. Stowe Rocks, I failed. North Allegheny, I was lucky to pass. I'm fighting to graduate, and if it wasn't for these teachers' aides, I wouldn't be passing all my classes. I never gave up. I'm lucky to have a second chance. My girlfriend's parents took me in, and I'm getting help from the teachers' aide here, and it's wonderful. And without these teachers' aide, and I see them all around the hallways helping the lower students, and they bust their butts. For one day, if you had to live in their shoes and do what they had to do, I don't think you would stand a chance.
Jack Showmaker, 37 South Bell, been in Bellevue since 1981. Northsider. As most Northsiders know, speak well in public. We're better at yelling in public. I have a little thing here I'm going to read shortly that I'm going to give to you guys, and I would like for everybody who votes for this catastrophe to sign it. And I want it, phone number on the back, my name, call me, I'll come pick it up. Okay? There's somebody who's losing their job here that's very close to me. It's a person who decided to be a teacher in the 5th grade. That's been their only goal. It wasn't to get married, wasn't to have children, it was to be a teacher. And by the time they were graduating college, I pulled them aside and said, you know something? You get in a good school district, you be there 5, 7 years, you can be making some decent money. And she looked at me with this blank look in her face, her eyes were big, and she said, teachers make decent money? This is the people you want. People are doing it because they love the job. I mean, don't get me on the teachers that are going through the motions, okay? Excuse all the ladies out there. I've come to bitch, okay? Anything that hurts students. The last time I was up one of these things, because students being injured, because they've been to work being taught. And when they're not being taught properly, they'll lose money on scholarships, they'll lose money in future earnings, they're going to be damaged their whole damn lives. And you people have to think about that. Okay? Now the gentleman who's came up with this plan, at least from what I hear, that doing things like this is basically your job. Is that what it is?
What did you say?
This is basically what your job is. You go from school district to school district.
No, sir. No, sir.
It
That's
isn't?
not my job.
Have you done this before?
This is my first superintendent's.
No. Have you gone to a school district by them asking you to come and having you eliminate positions?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, I have a question. You said you come from a long line of educators?
I do.
What are you teaching these students? What?
Teaching them that when you come from a small community with people that care and want to sustain the school district, as where I came from, you have to continue to make decisions to make sure that you can sustain your school district. That's what I'm saying.
And they're going to see it as there's not enough time to teach them properly and make them hit their potential. Okay? Now, this is my document that I will be giving to you, that I want everybody who votes for this to sign and return to me. We, the undersigned, Northgate School District members, have voted to eliminate 23 full-time teaching positions, 10 teacher aide positions, knowing the test scores in this district are not at acceptable levels, and fully believing these cuts will provide the students of the Northgate School District significant improvements in their test scores. We are doing this only to benefit the students of the district. It has nothing to do with the district being required to provide medical benefits to teachers' aides. That will be required under the Affordable Health Care Act, known as Obamacare. Knowing fully this vote will not be forgotten by the citizens of the Bellevue-Avalon voting area come next election day. By signing this document, I swear by Almighty God that these acts shall be taken strictly for the better education of the children of this school district.
I live at 113 Lincoln Avenue, and I just wanted to come up today and talk to you guys and let you know that when I was a senior in high school, I graduated in 2011. My senior year, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I hadn't applied for colleges. I didn't know if I did apply for college, what I was going to do in college, until a certain teacher provided me with the opportunity to do what I'm doing today that I love. Mr. Smith gave me the opportunity to be a news anchor on NGTV for the morning announcements. And if it wasn't for him, I would not be a sophomore at Edinburgh University, going into my second semester as a sophomore with my own radio show that I direct on my own. And if it wasn't for teachers like Mr. Smith and all the other teachers at Northgate who provide us with the opportunities like that, I know there's tons of other students out there who were just like I was my senior year, didn't know what they wanted to do with life, didn't know where they were going to go. I have a little sister who still attends this school, and she is a sophomore and is in the same boat. She barely even wants to go to school. And I honestly believe that if you get rid of these teachers who provide the opportunities that I was provided with and care for these students the way that these teachers cared for me and cared for what I wanted to do in life, you will have a lower enrollment rate. My sister, I guarantee you, will be one of those students who will drop out and no longer want to go to school because they're not getting the attention and the opportunities they deserve because of the larger class sizes and the lack of student-teacher one-on-one personal time. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rachel Robertson, 143 Sheridan Avenue. I've been going here since kindergarten, and it all comes down to this one statement. Please, please, just keep in mind that each student who attends this school district has individual needs and has an individual future. So please, do not compromise our futures by making us just figures in your calculations. Thank you.
Walker. I live at 54 North Star Avenue. I was a graduate of Northgate in 1999, and right now I have two kids. One is in kindergarten and one is going to be going to kindergarten next year. They attend Bellevue Elementary. When I chose this school and when me and my husband chose our house, we chose a daycare provider that's nearby that can get our children to school in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon, and get them back to daycare. They don't go to Avalon. I live right on the border of Avalon. So if you're saying I have to send my children to Avalon, are you going to walk my children to school? Are you going to go pick them up and take them to the daycare center that they need to go to because I'm at work? My husband goes to work? Just a question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine Senko. I live in McKees Rocks now, but I went to Northgate and graduated in 2009. And I think I'm a success story for Northgate, and it's because of the teachers. And when I first switched to Northgate in 6th grade, I was tested for the GATE program, which is the honors program, and they told me I couldn't get in because I wasn't smart enough. I mean, that's not what they said, but, you know. I graduated salutatorian of Northgate. I got a full ride. I got a full ride to Kent State University. I had 3 jobs in college, running a lot of the stuff for their psychology department. Went full time and I graduated summa cum laude in 3 years. And that's because these teachers invested their time in me and all the extracurriculars that I was in. That's why I got into school. And I just want to say, don't cut them.
My name is Russ Stevenson. I live at 727 Sylvan Avenue. I taught in the school district for 31 years. I taught mathematics, and I noticed that 2 of the positions are in math, and if art and math scores are low, I can't see how that's possible. I have gone through 6 superintendents, and in those years, we closed a lot of schools, Grant, Jackson, so forth, so on. And we furloughed teachers, and we need early retirement incentives. That's one thing we need to do. We need to help people to retire so we don't lose so many good people, and then we can hire more people. And I was gonna suggest, and I think people here would agree, if one of the problems was money, we could raise taxes a little bit, but I heard 1.6 million surplus. So I don't think we need to do that. And as I mentioned about the cutting math positions and English positions, if we're concerned about test scores, that's not going to help. That's only going to make it worse. So, and as a lot of people have said tonight, we need explanations, and we need a meeting to get those explanations before you make the decisions to ruin so many people's lives. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jamie Eggers. I live at 72 Kendall Avenue, Bellevue. And I've been at this school for 9 years now, kindergarten through 8th grade. And it's probably the best thing I could ever imagine. I've never been to any other school, but I love it here. All my friends, my teachers, and with these cuts, taking away these teachers' aides, half these kids won't be able to do the things that they grow up and do because they won't have that one-on-one time with the aides, because there's going to be too many kids per class, and having one teacher with all those kids, there's not enough time for that one teacher to get around to all those kids. I mean, I've been in that situation. I needed help when I was in elementary school, and I got not enough help, and so I'm just asking, why? Why do we need these cuts?
My name is Lisa Eggers, 72 Kendall Avenue. A year ago, my family had a house fire, and I wanted to run from this town. I just wanted to leave. And one of the reasons that we stayed was because of the school, the support we received from this school, especially the support my son, that you just met, received from this school. They made sure he was okay when I couldn't be with him. The teachers' aides, the administrative, made sure that he was safe when he was not with me. The teachers' aides spoke to him and made sure that he understood why we were going through what we were going through, even when we couldn't. You're taking away part of people that have become our family, that have become very close to us, that I didn't even knew we existed, that have helped us through one of the worst years that I could ever imagine my children living through. And because of the teachers and the teachers' aides in this school, my oldest son graduated because of them.
My name is Cassandra Schmidt, 454 Chase Avenue in Bellevue. I'm just going to make it short and sweet. It takes a village to raise a child. If you cut the teachers, how are they going to excel? That's it.
Todd Hilliard, 509 Florence Avenue. The community, elected officials, Dr. Pasquarelli. Sorry. I think it all comes down to what everybody said here tonight. The facts are, it's not a budget issue. There is a surplus. Test scores are low. Enrollment is down. Those seem to be the facts. I think the only factor is you start cutting teachers, you will lose this community, people will move, and in 4 years, you may or may not be gone. Elected officials may not be elected anymore. The one thing we'll be left with, it appears to me, will be lower, even lower test scores, and even a worse off community than we already have now. That is just starting to build up, just starting to rise, I think. With the teachers I see in place here, the education these children seem to be getting at this point, from the time I've moved here until now, I think these test scores can come up. I think the teachers need to stay in place, or I am positive people will leave this district. Elected officials won't be here anymore. New people will come in. It'll be a full circle of a downward spiral, as opposed to let's bring this community up and let's get these test scores up, which I believe are starting to rise. As I see, I think they will rise, and I think they can rise if you keep it where it's at. Please take a few more months, a year, to think about this decision. In 6 months is not the time to make a quick decision like this, to start cutting jobs, cutting staff, if it's not needed. If it was a budgetary issue, if that was the issue, I think people would respect it. Let's just take some time, bring it up in a year. If the test scores aren't up, if enrollment is down, then maybe we make some proposals.
Sorry, I will keep this really, really brief because I know it's been a long night and everyone's restless, including me. But I just didn't hear one thing said that I wanted to make sure I said. Sorry, I'm Sarah, I go to Carnegie Mellon. I just graduated last year. And I just wanted to say that I don't think that low enrollment is a bad thing. And I think that that's the problem we're trying to solve here, but I just wanted to propose before we end that maybe it's not a problem. So when we moved here, my dad was working at a private school, and I had the option of going to Northgate or to the private school, and I chose Northgate. And I came here and I saw over my time here such an increase in electives and small classes and individual attention and aid and all of these things that popped up because we have a good size of kids compared to teachers. And if you look at maybe the numbers that Dr. P gave earlier, when you have a large enrollment and the same amount of teachers, you need those teachers just to provide the minimum that the kids need, and those are the core subjects and the things they need to get into college. But now with the lower enrollment and we have those same teachers, I saw at Northgate all these new things popping up and all these great opportunities for the kids that went there, and more individualized attention and smaller classes and more electives. And so I think what I just wanted to say was I'm not really sure why we're here, because I don't think that there's a problem. And it's a nice night out, and I have a lot of Chinese homework to do. And I don't think that these cuts are necessary, and certainly not now, certainly not so urgent. You know, if the numbers you're giving are correct, our enrollment has been declining for a long time. And I don't know why we're sort of sneaking this in the back door right now, rushing it through, trying to get it done immediately. If you're insistent on cuts, maybe we propose them and do them next year, maybe after the budget comes out, maybe after we have time to consider other options. But I think now, I think Northgate should stay as it is, and I think if low enrollment continues and we cut teachers, I just kind of see it running Northgate into the ground. So, thanks, sorry for Northgate.
Hi, I'm Lauren Snyder, 684 Forest Avenue, and I was one of the kids that had the privilege of going to Northgate as a kid. I went here for 1st through 4th grade, and then my parents decided, even though my mother had grown up here, that it was time to move on, and we went to Seneca Valley, and my husband and I graduated from there. But what brought me back was not so much the district. I have a college degree in education. I got to student teach here. I got to substitute here. And I love doing that. But when I compared Northgate, Seneca Valley, and experiences I had there, I thought, boy, I really hope someday I can take my kids back there. Was really surprised when my husband told me, I have another plan. I'd really like to see our kids be homeschooled. And in the past 4 years, since my son has been born, that's where I spent a lot of my time researching homeschool, and I found where a lot of your students are going. All through this community where I thought, who goes into the city and homeschools? That's what you do out in the country. They're right here, and I'm reviewing their portfolios for you. Like, they're coming to me. And I just thought you should know that. I mean, if you're talking about enticing people, like enticing new people to come here, entice me. Give me a reason to send my kids to your school and not homeschool them, and give them the one-on-one attention that I can give them.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak tonight? No, sir. I'd like to thank you all for coming out. I'd like to thank you all for providing your input to us, especially the students. It's good to see our students have the commitment to stand up for their school. If there's no objection from the board, I would like to take a 10-minute recess. Seeing no objection, we'll be in recess for 10 minutes. Thank you.
Same course.